right, welcome to the Hashira Half Hour. It's a new day, it's a new season, and we're in person, which is pretty cool, right?
I'm pretty stoked on it. The setup took a while, so shout out to Tom sitting in the background who has been our complete setup guy. Don't know where we'd be without you, babe, but...
Am I?
Not yet.
That's for the end. But today is a very exciting episode. We're going to be recapping Swordsmith Village, episode 1, Someone's Dream. Demon Slayer Sundays are back, y'all. How do we feel about that?
I can't believe it. I think it's been a year since I've been watching a week-to-week anime. So I think it's very interesting to be back in the mindset of looking forward to something once a week. Or I guess I just finished My Hero, so that was a complete lie. Scratch my answer.
I was going to say, weren't you watching My Hero?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it was definitely that way for me because while we watched My Hero, we absolutely did not watch it weekly. It was a good season. It turned out a lot better than the last one, so probably not deserved. We should have done that. But this is the first time for me, I think, that I've been watching something on Sundays since it was Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan Sunday.
The brightest timeline of 2022. Okay, but before we dive in too much, I realized I skipped over it. See, now we're in this new environment and I don't know how to run things anymore.
We're all doing it for the first time.
Yeah, we have to introduce ourselves.
Well.
Of course. Hey everyone, I'm Hannah. And I am ready for Demon Slayer to be back. I'm so happy. It's back. This is my life for the next 11 weeks and I'm cool about it. And I'll pass it to Bryan.
All right, what's up, y'all? Glad to be here. Glad that you can all finally see my blue hair because I feel like I'm vibing with Muichiro. So there you go. I am your Muichiro impersonator today. I'll probably forget most of what I said.
Howdy, y'all. It's Emily. I'm just so happy to be here. We just talked about, it's been a year since I've been waiting for something to come out that was episodic and weekly, but this time I'm sitting here with my friends.
Oh.
This is so much fun. This is a lot better than being quiet and lazy on the couch. Sometimes. Those days are important too. But right now, we're together.
Yes. I was going to say this is the first time that I've bbeen watching something episodically and I have a group of friends to watch it with every week and do fun stuff with. So that's really fun and exciting. So I'm kind of excited about the fact that I think Emily, this is actually your first time watching the episode since the LA premiere, seeing it on theater. So the contrast is definitely interesting going from movie theater to TV screen. And I was amazed that when I watched this, I actually noticed the soundtrack more.
Really?
Yeah. What did you think of it?
I think I disagree. Granted, it's been, a month and a half since I've seen it because the last time was when we were in LA. But, and granted, there's just there's just limitations with television audio versus, especially the theater that we were in was extraordinarily well equipped. What did they say? How many channels did they say? 12 or 13 or something?
Like that, yeah.
I don't know. But obviously, this is just my chance to kind of rag on this again. But if you can see this stuff in movie theaters, please go see it in the movie theaters. It's still incredible, but I will say the sound design I think was better suited to the multi-channel option. And how could it not be? Yeah. But most of us don't have that set up in our houses, so...
Yeah, I think for the audio pieces, I think I noticed a lot more of the smaller details, either if it was Doma regenerating so quickly or if it was the swipes of Akaza. Everything just sounded really crisp, but balancing what they said at home, I think they still preserved the quality well and they did their best to replicate true sound, kind of what a vinyl is supposed to do, right? It's supposed to be the most closest thing you can get to what the artist wanted, and that's great, but I do feel of course, right, it's a movie theater, right? We all don't have Dolby 82K sound in our homes. So, I mean, and if you do, where's my invite? Because, I'd like to watch that at your house.
I wasn't saying I think it's better. I just noticed it more, and it might be just because, I've seen the episode a few times now. So I just, picked out different moments, and the soundtrack just stood out to me this time around. I was very excited.
That's fair. With a repeated watch, there are some accents that I noticed this time that I don't think I caught as much. And maybe that was because I was caught up in the excitement of seeing it for the very first time, the last time I saw it. But if we're just going to dive right in, then something I did notice with the sound that was cool was obviously we open with this incredible scene of Akaza flying through the Infinity Castle. And I did notice, and I don't think I noticed this last time, that there was a tiny accent of his theme in the song. And it wasn't a lot, but it was just enough that it's like, oh, there it is. Mm-hmm. Which was like the song that drove everybody insane for Mugen Train. Mm-hmm. So cool.
I mean, also, when we saw it in theaters in LA, everyone was cheering like the whole time.
Fair. They were like
so
screaming.
You miss things because there were definitely moments that were completely overpowered by the screams of the audience when we saw it.
I mean, let's be real. Can you blame us when we all saw like your favorite demon your favorite demon for the first time? Who was not going to scream? Like when I saw Doma on screen, I lost it, and I lost it when we saw him today too. So I mean, hey. I've seen it 3 times. I still lose it when I see that way too hot of a man for how evil he is. So, just saying.
I realized something today, too. Every single demon, except for Gyoko and Hantengu, are, like, freaking hot.
Those 2 are ugly, aren't they? They got hit by the whole ugly tree. Forget the branch.
Too bad they got the ugly branch. Everyone else got the beauty branch.
Yikes. I mean... Gyoko at least has the nice pot. I mean, that's a start, right? He's got a very pretty pot to come out of. He wears nice lipstick, too. Mm. Is it or would you call it eyeshadow? Bryan. Is it eyeshadow or lipstick at that point?
That's a question for the viewers.
Right? Also about Gyoko, I kind of noticed something, and I mean, obviously this is something that you wouldn't find in the manga, but like when he was talking, right? Like there were 2 sides of Gyoko, which I think was kind of interesting, and I hope that dynamic is going to be a little bit further explored, is that like his 2 sets of lips were like working as like different personalities almost, which I think was kind of cool to point out.
It was cool. It reminded me of Twice a little bit from My Hero. Mm. And if you haven't seen My Hero, it's a character essentially with like a split personality. So it's like you see the reactions of both, and like one is a little bit more brash, and then there's one that's like a little bit sweeter, and that kind of seemed like there was, yin and yang a little bit going on, which is cool.
It's like he's got 2 sides of his brain or something.
Mm-hmm. Then you've got Hatengu, who is just honestly I feel like that's exactly what I would be like in this world. He's like, that's if I actually live. I'm like, oh, I'd be able to fight. Like, no, like I'd be exactly like that.
Just hiding the whole time.
Unlucky number. Odd numbers. Ooh.
I feel like that's already kind of me. I'm like, don't move too fast. You're gonna start on me.
Honestly, same. Sometimes when I'm driving, I will stop at a stop sign, turn my head to look to see if there's cars coming, and I will jump scare if there's a car there. When that's literally what I'm like trying to do. Oh! That's what I'm looking for. Tangent. Speaking of favorite demons, Kokushibo. Come on. His eyes. I'm so glad that the whole world knows what he looks like now.
I know. This is our first time getting to see him. And boy, the build-up was like really something. And I know that we talked about this a little bit already in our review from the LA premiere, but that followed very quickly by a flashback of somebody that looks just like him, but with fewer eyes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think even within the episode itself, like they very well hid that surprise because like they flashed to him seeing like, I'm already here. And I was like, okay, early girl, like, good for you. Second, they, like, did it multiple times where he was already speaking, but still didn't show his face. So I think it was a really interesting play to, like, really build suspense by introducing all the other ones first, and then him. Also, when Muzan was like, Gyutaro's dead, and I was like, all right, I guess Daki's not important either. And then he was like, yeah, Daki was what held him back, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you never saw her as a demon anyways, it's okay. You never saw her as the upper ranks.
Well, but that's interesting, though, because I clearly remember a scene with Muzan and Daki, where, she's like, cuddled up like a cat on his lap kind of thing, and he's telling her how important she is. Mm-hmm. However, not as strong as her brother.
Well, that kind of begs the question. I mean, we talk about Muzan and his manipulation and the way that he so starkly contrasts Uyashiki where we see, you know, he controls his demons by fear, while Ubiyashiki, all the Hashira and the demon slayers that know of his existence are very respectful of him. So, like, you can kind of see that Muzan, and we've already known this, is just like a master manipulator, even with his upper rank demons, because all that's really showing us is how much he manipulated her into believing that she was strong. And now that she's gone, oh, she was Gyutara's downfall. So I think that's really more to his character.
That's true. And it's interesting because I think that's one of the first times we've seen him show like affection as a means of manipulation, because generally he uses fear, like you said, to manipulate people. But that, to me, like that scene with Daki is not what that was necessarily. Yeah. He's like, I almost like love bombing a little bit, like, you're so beautiful and you're so important to me, I need you to do something. When you see this demon slayer with the Hanafuda earrings, kill him.
And his sister.
I mean, going off of that, what is it that I think made the Infinity Castle so great for all of us? And I think it's the vast expanse of what the castle was. And I think it was really cool to see the many different components of it. I mean, we've gotten a couple ventures into the Infinity Castle so far, right? We've seen the lower rank meeting. We've seen now this meeting. And I think this really did set up a good context for kind of what Muzan's power looks like, right? Because even in the upper rank meeting, he snapped his fingers and Gyoko's head was in his hands.
That's true. It was an interesting design choice. Let's talk about that for a second, I think. Like, Muzan as the chemist who is in the Infinity Castle, but not there with them. Mm-hmm. I thought that was an interesting choice.
Well, he was upside down the whole time. Mm-hmm. I think, you know, the editing's very wild, and some people have been saying the editing for the scene is a little over the top, and I was like kind of trying to pay attention, and there's a lot of like flashy like shots, and of course we're out of the entertainment district and we're not around Tengen anymore, so it's interesting that they're still going for this kind of flashy, like I said, like it's just like things are moving and shaking, but he is like kind of off to the side and upside down the whole time. And I think it's again showing that power difference, because we're getting introduced to the rest of the upper moons, which we know are incredibly strong, considering we've already fought 3. We know what happened there. We've now fought 6, and it was in a like really hard battle that we practically didn't get out of alive. And yet they're still showing Muzan to just be like so beyond them that he can literally have the head of one of his upper moon demons in a second. And he's just kind of upside down doing his thing. I agree. It's very like interesting way to show things.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's almost like it gives a different meaning to like the creator, I guess. We know that he's like the origin of demonkind, and you know, to them he's almost like kind of like this godlike figure. And so it's interesting that they would portray it as almost like very like mathematical, very scientific. He's like working with test tubes and chemicals and all kinds of things, and that's like the image that we get of him as this like creator or this like manipulator of the existence that they know.
Yeah.
So yeah. And as far as the editing goes, I mean it's all completely intentional. Like it's not supposed to be like a comfortable thing to watch. No. It's like chaotic, it's fast, and it's something that can even throw the upper moons for a loop. Mm-hmm. So I can't imagine it being like a super stationary shot for the editing.
And I mean, that flash of where they inverse the colors on Muzan, that was terrifying, because I'm sure that's what Gyoko saw in that moment, was like everything inverted, but also like disgusting that Gyoko was like, oh, so sublime to have Master Muzan's hand on my head.
And the blushing, and he's like moaning. I'm like,
oh my god.
My decapitated head.
Like, bro, like Enmu already simped so hard for him. Like, can you not do the same, please?
No, for real. The scene is so, like, just the entire upper moon meeting is so, like, interestingly edited and so well done, because you've got that like creepy editing, which I agree, like it needed to have that. I don't necessarily agree with everyone that's saying that it's like too over the top, because I think it needed that, and it made it feel that much more like intense, that much more like on the edge of your seat, even though why am I feeling something for the demons, right? But then you also get like the contrast of like Doma just being a silly little guy and Gyoko being like his head just like running around or being like all weird about being touched by Muzan. And then you've got Muzan who's just kind of being a chemist, being a scientist, doing some kind of experiments or whatever. It just overall, the first, 10 minutes of the episode, so well done.
I agree.
But moving on from the Hashira meeting,
The Hashira of the demons.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. Moving on from the upper moon meeting, as we mentioned, we go into the dream. And the dream is really interesting. I think it's kind of a weird situation because we see someone who looks very similar, as we mentioned, to Upper Moon 1, Kokushibo. And he's sitting with someone who kind of looks like Tanjiro. Like spitting image of Tanjiro, let's be real. But at that point, right, like, we see that there's a couple different conversations being had about what comes next for this mystery man and also kind of what it means for the family that's there. What did you guys think about the dream?
What a way to start out a season. I think I said this in our premiere recap, but just like the shift in the story, like if you compare the beginning of this season compared to the beginning of last season, it's so different. Like there's so much more like story development happening here, and we're getting these mysteries. And my favorite thing still is the fact that when we watched this movie at the premiere, they showed the face of the character that looks like Tanjiro, and someone in the audience just went, "What?" And everyone laughed at them. Because, like, if you're an anime only, like, who is this guy? And then why does this other guy have the Hanafuda earrings? Why does this other guy look like the demon we just saw, just without 6 eyes? Very, like, mysterious. They're showing us just a tiny bit, but developing the story for it.
I think it's also very, very important to note who's having this dream as well, which we can get to in a moment. But, they're talking about, like, bloodlines because it's this image of, like, a father and a baby, and then a babysitter or, like, somebody who is, like, a guest on this kind of familial life, but, like, doesn't have any heirs. And that's the conversation that they're having is, like, how will your name or, like, your legacy be passed down? And then our dreamer wakes up.
And the dreamer is...
Tanjiro!
That was so cheesy.
I hated it.
Yeah, so Tanjiro was having that dream, which makes sense considering there's a character in this dream that looks just like him. So now we're like, okay, who is he? And obviously he's related to Tanjiro somehow. But also, Tanjiro's been in a coma for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Very intense recovery from a battle.
Like I said, my man is the best customer at that hospital. Hope he has insurance.
He's keeping it in business.
Ay, ay, ay. They're like, we've got like all these people coming in, like attending to him, and you know what? I'll wait. Somebody else share their thoughts.
I mean, Tanjiro being in a coma for 2 months, he was literally on the brink of death multiple times in the previous fight. Literally, episode 6, he ran out of gas and his fire almost went out. So, I mean, that's part 1. And then there were like 3 other times where he was like getting called from the other world to maybe stop so that he doesn't die. With that being said, 2 months in a coma, I think that makes perfect sense for him. Like, let's be real. He recovered. He needs that time to recover. I think at heart, he is a spirit animal, a bear. He got that hibernation skills to
He just goes and goes and goes. Like and we've talked kind of about how his brain seems to just be like, like that boy has so much going on in his brain at all times. He's trying to like fight demons, but also protect his sister and also protect the people around him. And, there was a meme that I showed Emily in Mugen Train where it was him waking up and Rengoku had the human that was inside his soul, like, by the neck. And the meme was like, oh shit! Anyway, because he was just like, oh, that's bad. I gotta keep fighting. So, like, he's just go, go, go. So when something like this happens, his body is just gonna be like, eh!
Yeah. And then he is reliant upon the kindness of strangers. Well, not strangers. He is familiar with these individuals at this point. This is like what the third rehabilitation arc or something. Why am I forgetting our boy's name? We get a little tiny like side mission here.
Goto.
Goto. I love this little scene with Goto. I think this is so funny. We literally get the, hey, it's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Record scratch. Freeze frame.
Literally.
But I love that we get these little like fleshed out moments with some characters that we might not get otherwise. So I thought that was really sweet. And then we get to see them all react to him waking up. He has been in a coma for 2 months, and a lot of people care about him, maybe more than he even expected.
He said, whenever I wake up, I don't tell anyone. And neither does Kanao, because Kanao just drops the vase of flowers, and Goto's like, did you want to clean up after yourself? And I mean, kind of same. If I would have walked in the room, literally seeing her just tending there, and like everything on the floor, I'd be like, what? But then we get abdominal breathing, first form, screm, as I will call it.
Screm.
I mean, essentially, but I think this is this kind of moment where he first wakes up. It's really cute. I think that it's a really like precious scene because he's like this premium Castella. He's got such a strong sense of smell. It'll wake him up, and I like that the little like scent is like being like wafted to him. It's like me when I'm at the mall and I smell the Cinnabon. It's just like
That would wake me up.
right.
Alas, he is already awake, and the cake goes to waste, which is very, very sad. But we do not stay sad for very long, because then comes one of the most comedic moments for me in the entire show. And we talked about this in our other review, but I'm going to say it again. We've got Tanjiro laying face up. Oh, thank you for taking care of me. How are the others? Oh, well, Zenitsu's been awake for a while. He woke up like the day after it happened. He's off on a mission. Okay. And what about Inosuke? Oh, he didn't make it. Then I must be hallucinating him on the ceiling. And there he is. That's our boy.
Our little gremlin.
Our little barnyard animal.
And also, the nice thing about this episode is we got a Taisho era. Well, we didn't get a Taisho era secret, but we did get a cutscene. The cutscene was great.
Which one are you talking about?
Well, I mean the cutscene where we actually find out that Inosuke wasn't there for only an hour.
Oh.
But he was actually there for 24 hours in advance, whispering in Tanjiro's ear to wake up.
Okay, I think this is a good time to talk about that scene then, because I think it was technically a Taisho secret, because it was after the end of the credits, and we didn't get this in the movie.
Nope.
It didn't have this scene in it yet, so this was all new information for us, and it's not in the manga, so like fully new for us. But yeah, Inosuke explains that he was on the ceiling he got on the ceiling the day before Tanjiro woke up and spent the entire day trying to wake him up, which is like funny but also really sad and cute that he's like, Tanjiro, well, you know, he's saying the wrong name, like, wake up, wake up, wake up. It's like, oh. But that begs the question, is Inosuke the reason Tanjiro woke up?
Certainly could be one of the reasons, right? I don't know. It's hard to say. Either that, or did he just come to the end of his dream? And also, how long did the dream last? If he was in that coma for 2 months, he could have been in that dream for 2 months that we're seeing. Either way, I like the idea of Inosuke laying above him, whispering gently into his ear, Tanjiro, wake up. But what if he said his actual name because he was worried?
He does every 7 times, so he would have had to if he was doing it all night long.
That's true. It's true. Well, our hero is awake. Inosuke, yeah, he falls asleep again, though. Like, this is just really fast, but he does fall asleep again, and Inosuke's like, is he in another coma? He's like, and I love that that's like the default reaction because of how often Tanjiro is in a coma.
Inosuke just creeping in. Hannah did the same thing that like Inosuke did, just coming in real close. It's like what my dogs do to make sure we're still awake and still alive. It's just like slowly edge closer. And just come right in your ear. But I mean, I think from there, right, we get like the comedy, which I think is always appreciated, right? Because Demon Slayer gets super heavy so quickly. And so these early episodes are, you know, of course, not the most action packed, but they are meaningful. And then right after we go there, right, Tanjiro finally starts to kind of get his bearings. He then is kind of working with the girls of the Butterfly Mansion and starts to get, I mean, quite literally wrung out by like getting his back pulled and getting like pushed down forward. Boy's rough.
Boy's rough. But he is ready to get back into the thick of it, and he starts asking about his sword. And there is no new sword. There is no update. The update is that there is no update other than some ominous letters from Haganazuka.
Haganazuka, like, peak comedy for me. Just the way he acts and the way he is with Tanjiro and his sword is just, like, talk about the fact that he literally, like, chased him around when he had a stab wound in his stomach the last time. Because he, like, threw his sword. And now he's like, oh, this boy's in a coma? Too bad. I'm going to send him hateful letters.
I'm going to send him hate mail.
Literally.
Oh my gosh.
Not the hate mail.
But it does not stop the fact that Tanjiro still needs a sword.
Eh?
Should he visit ye old sword shop?
Ye old medieval.
Should we go to the Swordsmith Village?
Nah. Next season on Demon Slayer.
Oh, God.
Tanjiro gives up on his dreams.
Oh, no!
Give up on your dreams and die.
No!
Who did I just quote?
I know what you just quoted. Where's Haley? Timeout corner for this one.
Oh my gosh.
That was an Attack on Titan quote. For those of you who are like, why did Hannah just tell her
And why did Bryan scream in pain? In pure agony.
This world shall know pain.
That's not Attack on Titan, that one.
It's a different show.
We do not want Tanjiro to give up on his dreams and
Absolutely not. So we're sending him to the Swordsmith Village, y'all. Carried on the backs of many, literally.
All I could think about is the fact that these poor I'm gonna try and say it correctly because they're like, they drop the kind of Kakashi. They're like carrying him around, and he's also got Nezuko in the box on his back, which I'm sure she's like in her smallest form possible to be nice and light. But Tanjiro's ripped, you know, like we've already seen that, so he's not exactly light. And I'm like, oh, those poor people have to carry him around, like
They've probably seen worse. To be fair, they are the ones used to like carrying bodies and stuff out of the battlefields.
True. They're probably actually really strong.
They probably are. They just might not be good with a sword.
Yeah.
I feel like.
They're probably excited that the body that they're finally carrying is alive.
Yay.
I mean, also, like, thinking about it, where is our Demon Slayer Monopoly game after them moving across the board? I mean, like, let's be real. Who wouldn't want to buy Ubuyashiki Way for 500?
Oh my god.
Like, seriously, though. Like, they moved them across the spaces, and then they were talking about how intelligent the entire design was. And Tanjiro just being Tanjiro was like, oh, smart people are so incredible. It's so precious.
And he's like making every Kakashi like fall in love with him because he's just so nice to them. They've all got like flowers and bubbles around their heads as they pass him off because they're like, oh, what a sweet kid. Like, of course.
And he's still able to be that nice when he's down like 3 senses because they cover his eyes, his ears, and they plug his nose because we know that boy's got the strong sense of smell. I just think that's so funny. He's like, I can't hear you, see you, smell you, but I can talk to you.
I don't know why this popped in my head, but like, I don't think Tanjiro would have done well in like the 6th grade. Like, him having to like stand through an entire class of kids using Axe body spray as if it were like body soap on them. I think he would have died in like the locker room in PE.
I mean, he is in Taisho era Japan before deodorant was invented.
That's true.
Around people
and
who
I
exercise
know that
for
some of those boys stink. I know Inosuke does not smell good.
No.
Do you remember the Inosuke candle? And they were like, wow, it smells just like him.
If he smelled good. There's a local like candle shop that makes like anime candles, and they base them off of scents of characters. And I'm like going through and I'm like, man, this one smells just like how I picture like Mikasa smells. Oh yeah, that's what Levi would smell like. And then there's the Inosuke one. Oh, that is exactly what he would smell like if he smelled good, which I don't think he does.
Absolutely
There's absolutely no way he does.
No, I know that boar head is like nasty.
Yeah.
100%. But we do make it to the Swordsmith Village. And hopefully everybody there can smell a little bit better than usual, because something that Tanjiro notices right away when they do unplug his nose is the smell of the onsen, or the hot springs that's there. And if you've never smelled like a hot springs, it's a very distinct smell.
Yeah.
Kind of like sulfuric. I don't know how to say that word. Very, very distinct, but the idea is that it's like a really good place to rejuvenate, and like they have a lot of healing properties. So it's a good place for Tanjiro to be post-coma. And just generally probably a smart place to have the Swordsmith Village in general.
Yeah, it's interesting that the Swordsmith Village is around there and not like Ubuyashiki Manor or something, because I do feel like it's more like the Slayers that need it than the Swordsmiths, because they're the ones that are getting like the injuries and that sort of thing. But we do meet 3 new Slayers who are already here. So it's not like this is incredibly off limits to Slayers. It's just a very well thought out machine for people to get there.
And rightfully so, because they have to protect it from the demons. Mm-hmm. The swordsmiths make the swords, but they're not necessarily meant to wield them. So I think they would struggle to defend themselves. But very, very important to keep the swordsmiths protected. And we do get some sneak peeks of some slayers. And we get to meet a couple more of the swordsmiths also in this opening scene.
That little Tetchin man. He was so cute. He's like, I am the smallest and most powerful. And Emily was like, that's me, bud.
I am the smallest in this village and the most important.
Bow until your nose hits the floor. Okay!
Ah, very good. Have some candy.
And then he's just like...
I love that. Sweet little scene. And then they mention that Haganazuka is missing. And they're like, we're going to find him, but if for some reason we can't and your sword's not done by the time that you're better, we'll get you a new swordsmith. Could Tanjiro be getting a new swordsmith? I don't know. Haganazuka's got some temper issues he needs to work through for sure.
I mean, from what it sounds like, this isn't the first time that maybe he's done something like this. So thinking about it, it's probably going to be at least 10 to 15 business days. And I mean, looking at that and like their timeline, seems like that could be a bad thing for a Slayer to go without for possibly up to a real like 3 weeks. So let's hope that we get something in Tanjiro's hands. If not, like maybe a stick.
But also their like change in voice and threatening tone once they talk about how he's going to be severely reprimanded when he gets back or something. And they're like...
Oh yeah, the threat, like he's gonna get one of these and one of these, and
Tanjiro's just like, please
don't beat him up, even though he wishes nothing more than my demise. Every time I see him. Oh my gosh,
it'd be an interesting dynamic if he got a new swordsmith.
It seems like for a village that's supposed to be super calm, though, there's like kind of a lot of crazy people that live there, and that frequent it as well, because. Again, we see some more of our Slayers here, and obviously we've got one who's super cute, and then we've got one who actually would probably get along great with Haganazuka.
I mean, yeah, Mitsuri at the bottom of the mountain crying, Tanjiro! But let's backtrack a little bit. Of course, Mitsuri's bath scene. I made the remark, I'm not straight, but...
I told everybody to get a grip.
At first I thought she said get a brick, and I was like, why? Brick. Nonetheless, I think it was really cute to kind of start to see the people who are all inside and kind of opening to what we're going to see this season. I really appreciated that. Mitsuri kind of opened up as her true self immediately, right? She was so sad that someone ignored her, but then she immediately turned it around as soon as she heard that it was masachake rice that was being served for dinner, and I was like, kind of same, girl.
The way she, like, was being, like... Tandra's trying to, like, help her out and cover her up, and then she's, like, spinning around, and he's just being flung around, and it's so chaotic. And she's just freaking out because someone didn't talk to her. But, like, honestly, same. If I, like, said hello to someone that was at least, like, a coworker or something, like, we're in the same, like, area, and I just, like, say hello, and they completely ignore me, I'm not going to react quite like that, but I would still be like, am I hated?
It's like me when I think somebody's saying hi to me, but it was somebody behind me. You're like, hey!
Hey!
That wasn't for me. Okay, now I will just not leave my house for the next 5 years.
Oh, no.
Same.
I can never come back to this subway.
Nope. Guess I'm resigning from this job.
And then we've got the person who withheld a hello from her. We got Genma here in the hot springs.
Genya.
Not which one's Genma? I'm getting confused. Genya.
I think Genma's from Dragon Ball.
Well,
There's
that would be
definitely-
very confusing for me because I've not seen Dragon Ball. Not since I was little. Not since I was very, very little.
It's
Genma. I'm gonna
somebody-
there's like somebody else I must be thinking of. Genma. Right? Genya. What the heck am I saying? All right, we've got our boy with the Glock. That's what I'm gonna call him. We got our nasty rap man with the Glock. I give up on names today. Thank you. Wait, what?
Genya.
It is Genya. Wait, what did I say? Never mind.
Genma.
Never mind.
We're just gonna move on.
We're moving on. Too much time on the name. But we've got our man's plucking his tooth out. Oh, okay.
There's a
Genma's in Naruto.
Okay,
All
that
right.
totally makes
That's
sense.
what it
Oh.
is. Genma is in Naruto. Okay. Genya. Wait. I can't do this. All right, fail. I am resigning from the podcast effective immediately.
Oh, no. Not even a 2 weeks notice.
I can't talk about him anymore. Somebody else, please.
All right, so
Take over.
Mr. Toothy here. All this...
Mr. Chip Skylark.
Oh no, not bright and shiny. But yeah, I mean, obviously, he seems super approachable as he's literally throwing his teeth out of his mouth. And then all of a sudden, Tanjiro's like, oh, this is my shot. I didn't get a chance to be nice to this guy earlier, but I'm gonna do it this time. And he rips his clothes off and he's like, let's do it. And then jumps in. We get the lovely, lovely slapstick humor of a bird in front of his pee-pee. And then he jumps right in and asks to bond in nakedness. And Genya tells him to die. Peak.
Poor Tanjiro.
It's peak right there.
He didn't care if he was Genma or Genya. Yeah.
He just wants to make friends. Okay. This has to be probably my favorite manga panel ever, was this moment. I was so looking forward to seeing it in the anime. It did not disappoint. There's something about Tanjiro just being he's so good at reading the room so often, and then other times he literally just cannot. He literally says his name. Genya says, die, and his reaction is to rip his clothes off and jump in. Tell me how that makes sense. But yeah, Genya is literally throwing his tooth around and hit Tanjiro in the head. What is happening?
This is exactly how I imagine, like, most interactions with men go. Like, sorry, Bryan. But I'm like, our man is, like, such a man. Like, hopefully he smells a little bit better, because at least he's taking a bath right now, but, like, just, like, nasty boy stuff. They're, like, picking their toes. They're, like, pulling teeth out. Like, this is exactly what I imagine boys do in their spare time.
Pulling their teeth out.
Is that hate speech? No.
I don't think it's hate speech.
Not with these boys.
No, we love Tweedledee and Tweedledum over here. They're our silly boys, and we love them. They're, we gotta cut them some slack. They literally slay demons for a living, and they're like 15.
That's fair.
And
these are not Hashira yet, either.
That's true.
They're not quite on that level. And actually, we haven't heard too much about what anyone other than our Kamaboko squad has been doing in the meantime.
Yeah, so it's kind of exciting. I think it's kind of clear that Inosuke and Zenitsu aren't here, right? Mama, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I said that, and I made eye contact with Bryan, and he was just like dead inside.
I know, but we did get a little cutscene of him real quick with a little scarf because he's somewhat cold, which was super cute.
Adorable. But it does open the door to new characters.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, we got Mitsuri already. Now we've got Genya, who's not even a Hashira. So someone similar in age to Tanjiro. And we're going to get another Hashira. So we're opening the door to a lot of new characters, which is pretty exciting.
I think so. And it's fun how every season seems to have a focus on a new Hashira ever since season 1 ended. So, obviously, Tengen got his moment. And it's a little bittersweet that it's going to be shared between a couple people this season. But at the same time, we got a lot of them to get through. So, I think... And it also can be kind of cool to see how some of them work together. Because up to now, we haven't really seen a whole lot of that quite yet. We've seen Hashira kind of try to take stuff on their own.
Yeah, and I don't think we would really consider Giyu and Shinobu as working together. I would consider more that forced cooperation from Ubuyashiki. So, had they maybe not tried to kill each other in the middle of, when they were fighting a lower rank 11, maybe that would have been a different time to have that fight. Just my opinion, though.
You mean lower 5?
Yeah. I mean, he was 11.
You used the number 11, and I'm like, I'm confused.
He was 11 out of 12.
Okay.
But I always forget that it's lower 5 because you have to get to 6, and 6 is used the bridge point. Because,
yeah.
Okay. See, now you know what I mean.
Now I get it. I was like, lower 11. What?
And this is where we learn that Bryan cannot do math. Gays can only do a few of the following. You can either parallel park, have great relationships with your parents, or you can do math. You don't get all 3. You pick 2.
So you can parallel park?
So you pick 1.
Oh my gosh. That was literally going to be my question. If I have to parallel park, I'm going home.
Same.
I actually don't think I can parallel park very well either. So I think I really got the short end of the stick here.
Bryan.
Oh, man.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man. We love our chaotic introductions to both Mitsuri and Genya. Both were wild and out there. Nezuko and Mitsuri.
So cute. Little baby Nezuko.
She's like tickling her.
Like literally healing her inner child.
Literally.
And her inner child is her outer child right now as well. So cute. And I love Mitsuri's kind of been in their corner since day one. Even if we think all the way back to season 1, and we've got the trial essentially. Mitsuri was the only one who mentally, other than Giyu, seemed kind of attracted to the sibling idea and supporting them. And it's nice to see that that's carried on and that she's so good with Nezuko and just such a sweet Hashira.
I think it was nice that she mentioned all 5 of my siblings, we all get along so well. And I think that's maybe where the part of that comes from is her putting herself in their shoes saying, what if that wasn't one of my siblings, right? What would I be doing? Would I be doing the same thing that they are? Also, when she was like, Nezuko, don't tell anyone, but I'm already hungry after we just ate. Shh. And she's saying it out loud. That's me. I always forget that I'm saying stuff out loud sometimes. So, Mitsuri, I'm a baby.
She's just got those big sister vibes for them. And you can tell, I don't know if it's ever mentioned where she is within the line of her siblings, if she's, older or younger in the middle. But you can tell she just gets their vibes. She just likes it. She's already kind of taking on a big sister role. And my heart melts when she's like, Mitsuri Kanroji believes in the Kamado siblings. And I'm like, that's what they need. Thank you. Before they even fight, because all the other Hashira are like saying that they believe in them after they've seen them fight, and Mitsuri's just like, I already believe in you. Yay.
Oh.
We love her.
I think Mitsuri helps me cope with my older sibling trauma. Just throwing. We can cut that from the episode.
Hannah and I are just like, oh.
Both Emily and I were like,
next week on Demon Slayer. Oh,
trauma. Okay.
God.
But Mitsuri does, kind of offer one last thing to Tanjiro before she's getting ready to leave, because her sword is actually ready. That's why she's there as well. And her sword's really cool. We're going to get to see it hopefully very, very soon. But she tells Tanjiro that there is a secret in the village that can help him to get stronger and that he should try to find it. What do you think the secret is?
It's clearly a magical potion.
All right. Magical potion.
A potion that gives you like demon abilities, but you stay human.
Spinoff.
No, I think it's a treasure. We're on a treasure hunt. Doesn't Tanjiro say that too? That clause feels like a treasure hunt.
I think it's a wall of Glocks, which is where Genya got his.
It's a hunt for the one piece of the Swordsmith Village.
Wow. Okay, well, speaking of the treasure, we go into our final moment of the episode, and that is finally the third Slayer that we've been talking about. Muichiro, another Hashira, the Mist Hashira, our wonderful Gen Zer.
He is a Gen Z if I've ever seen one.
And he's just like talking to this like young kid going like, I don't care, hand it to me.
Muichiro, to a certain extent, I relate to him, but also like seeing him very up close and like his own personal dynamic in this episode, his eyes just felt very like condescending. And I think part of it was like the way that he was like looking. I mean, obviously like the person he was talking to in that moment was shorter than him, so like he was looking down at them, but like you could also feel he was looking down at that person, you know?
And to be fair, didn't they tell us he became a Hashira in like 2 months or something?
Yeah.
So what has it been like? I mean, I guess we don't know how long he's been a Hashira, but from him joining the Demon Slayer Corps to him becoming a Hashira was 2 months.
Yeah.
Maybe he's earned a little bit of bragging rights at that point. Doesn't mean it's not annoying.
If you're that talented and that strong, does not give you a right to be condescending to other people.
No.
But it is Muichiro. And he's young too. He's younger than Tanjiro.
Yeah, isn't he like, he's like 12 or 13?
He's 14.
14.
Yeah.
14 and a Hashira.
That's wild.
It's like, what? And maybe we'll find this out later, but it's like, what could have driven you in your life this young to need to be a Hashira? To be able to fight that strongly?
I don't think he remembers.
Might find out. But they're fighting over something specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Muichiro and this yet unnamed member of the Swordsmith Village, who is a young child defending something that he says was made by his ancestors and is precious to him. And as Tanjiro tries to get a better look of the fight, what he sees looks an awful lot like somebody that we just saw in his dream.
And so the story continues. It's kind of like I said earlier. The contrast of the beginning of this episode compared to last season is very different because we're getting like mysteries, we're getting some, intricacies to the story that we haven't seen before. And this kind of wraps up, where we started. Okay, so we saw this man with red eyes, kind of looks like the demon, has the Hanafuda earrings, he was talking to someone who looks like Tanjiro. Okay, what is going on? And now we're seeing this man again. But I thought we maybe established that he was an ancestor, so what is going on? Maybe we'll find out this season. That was so bad.
Next week on Demon Slayer.
Hey,
Not for real.
We'll at least get to see what it is next week, because we caught literally right at the very end where he was like, is that another person? And then he was like, and cut. And then they were like, all right, cool, everyone back to their trailers. Let's go ahead and take 20.
Is that your best Tanjiro impression?
No, that was like my impression of them like filming.
Is that another person?
Is that another person?
I don't know. If I were to do a Tanjiro impression, I think it would go something like this. Like, at least for the English. Is that another person? Who could that be? They look like the person from my dreams. A mystery to be solved.
Very good.
No.
However, I would like to take a turn next. Hey, am I supposed to be fighting some demons and slaying them here? My name's Tanjiro.
Tanjiro from Jersey?
Hey, what is this?
What?
It's Cherry.
Hashira or something? I ain't seen anybody look like Rengoku since I went to the Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh God, not the Dunkin' joke. I'm the mayor of Dunkin'.
Just gonna go.
Hannah's lost in the woods right now, guys.
Let me know in the comments what you think of my impression.
I'm not gonna do an impression.
Oh, no. You don't get to escape this. No. You can give this a shot.
How do I follow that? All I was gonna do was scream. Ah! Yeah,
That's pretty accurate.
Okay.
That was a pretty good, like, ending Entertainment District.
That
Oh, man.
All right, well, before we lose it any further, folks, thanks for watching and listening to our first live episode. We hope that, first, you really enjoyed this content. We want to say thank you again to our lovely, lovely producer at this point, Tom, Emily's partner. He has helped so much with this entire morning. We've literally been doing this for 4 hours, I think, so far. So thank you so much for your support. We are standing on your shoulders, sir.
And Johnny, thank you for your house. And Bryan, for
Yes.
your house.
Yes. And then one last thing. I think we'll skip over favorite moments because we did go over those in the Los Angeles movie premiere review. So if you want to hear our favorite moments, you can just listen in there.
And I think that's a wrap until next week. So, Same time, same place. Maybe different place. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
We'll see.
But I think this is the Hashira Half Hour signing off for now.
Umai.
Umai.
Umai!
Umai. Umai.
Yay!